If you're new here, hi, I'm Tia and I make thrifted Ren Fair fantasy content. I have recently moved into a new apartment and I had a goal to make my room a little bit more fairycore, fantasy, forest-like. But of course, if you know anything about me, I have to have everything thrifted. Okay, as many things as possible thrifted, okay? Nobody's perfect. Sometimes we just can't, but as much of this will be thrifted as possible. I headed to the thrift store to see what kind of fantasy things that I could find. The goal here, like I said, is to have as many of these pieces thrifted as possible, and I do have the footage of me thrifting them, so you know that I am not faking. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
So this was actually in a previous video. I found this at a separate thrift store and I knew that I was going to make this video, so I've been saving it. So this is just the first thing that I found. And then I went to this thrift store that had this huge aisle of knickknacks. So I had a lot of stuff to look through. Right away, first thing that I saw, this is absolutely perfect. It's so cute. Definitely 100% used to be a fairy. You can see where the wings used to be, but they're broken off now. I don't know why I didn't grab it, but I did put it back. I thought that this looked cool for maybe a medieval candle type thing. I don't know. I went ahead and put it in my cart just as a maybe. So I'm looking for knickknacks, things that I can put up on a shelf, things that I can DIY, things that I can turn into room decor to make my room look like a fairy forest. The moss is definitely on theme, so I went ahead and put that in my cart. And more moss. I'm not really sure what I'll end up doing with this one, but because it has moss on it, I decided to also put this one in my cart. I saw some cute DIYs on Pinterest using some bottles kind of similar to this one, and I have kind of an idea of what I want it to do, so I went ahead and grabbed that one as well. And then I found this cute little basket, and I love the shade of green of it. It's kind of beat up, but I kind of like that about it. And here's another one of these, but this one is metal, whereas the other one is plastic. These were so cute, but I actually already have one of these, so I had to pass up on it. I thought these coasters were cute. I'm not sure if I'll DIY them or just actually use them for coasters, but we'll find out. I thought that these gave I don't know, cottagecore vibes maybe. Here's my cart now. And as I was in the checkout, I found this little basket. It would have been so cute if I had room for it, but I don't, so I had to leave it. I found this while thrifting in Colorado, and I almost screamed. It was just so cute. And then I found this at a separate time, which made me think of something else that I've seen on Pinterest before, so I definitely grabbed that. One thing about fairycore is it has a lot of leaves. So I found this at a separate thrift store, and I picked it up. And then said hi to the cats, of course. And this I plan to use just for the leaves. And then I found this, and tell me this is not the most fairycore thing you have ever seen. So this is everything that I got. And just a reminder, most of this was thrifted from several different thrift stores over the span of a few weeks. It was not all from the same place. So first we're going to start with this guy. The first thing that I did, obviously, was start to cut out the leaves. Then I realized that it's actually just a flower arrangement and I can just take each piece out, which made my life a lot easier. And then I actually found my wire cutters because I was using scissors at first. So now it's moving a lot faster. So now I'm just going and cutting out each little strand of leaves. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I'm going to put them on my wall and make it look like little vines are going down the wall. I realized that there's a much easier way that I could do this, I could just go buy a vine, but the whole point of this is to do this thrifty. And that's just my whole thing, so you gotta do it. Now for this, obviously I'm not going to do a whole lot of DIY with it. It's perfect as is. So all I did was just put that on the ceiling and then attach lights around it. Next up is this little basket. So obviously, since this is fairy themed, we're going to have a lot of colorful flowers. So I picked these out of some leftovers from other crafts, along with this ribbon that was also left over. I had the idea to wrap the ribbon around the basket. It was just barely long enough, so I had an idea. I went ahead and glued that on. And then I'm going to go and add this flower in the middle so that you can't tell that there's a gap in the ribbon. Then I took this flower and I'm going to wrap it around the handle. And now repurposing from the basket we previously used, and I'm going to stuff that in this basket. And then I just glued these little flowers along the edge of it. And for a final touch, I went ahead and put this little butterfly on it. I'm not really sure how I feel about it, to be honest. It's not one of my favorites, but let me know if you guys happen to like it. Next is the bottle. So I have these lights that were not thrifted, and I'm going to put them in the bottle. This is the picture that I'm going for. I'm going to make it look as much like that as possible with the things that I already have. So I looked through my bag of scraps to see what we got to work with. I've had this for a while, but like had nothing to do with it, and I had the perfect idea. It would be perfect to stick in this bottle and then like hang down, you know, and it like, you know, I feel like it just it's kind of meant to go together. So here's our finished bottle, and then we have also with the lights on. Next is the shelf. I honestly thought that this was 3 shelves at first, but it turns out that it's one big long one, which is not a problem. I went ahead and took those leaves that I thrifted earlier, and I'm putting those around the shelf. And luckily the battery still worked after being at the thrift store. Yay. Now we're taking our little frogs, and I'm not going to do any DIY with this because I think it's perfect already as is. So I'm just going to set that on the shelf. Same thing with this little dish. I would not change a thing about this. I'm going to use it for like jewelry and such, so I put that on there as well. And then I'm adding this guy. And the coasters I just decided to use as coasters, so I'm going to put those on there too. So while I love this, it ended up being pretty messy, so I actually don't really want it in my room. So I'm going to do this separately and put it outside on the balcony and clean up this mess. I didn't do anything to change this picture, obviously, but I did think that it would look good over here on this wall. But I only used one of them because the other one ended up breaking, unfortunately, whenever I got home. Now for the part that I'm super excited about, I'm going to unwrap this. And of course, they made it super difficult. I did end up losing a leaf, rest in peace. Then I discovered that what I thought was one single garland piece was actually 3 smaller pieces, which isn't an issue. I took off the darker green garland that I had up there already and then replaced them with these because I like them better. I was having a hard time, as you can see. And here's the finished look at everything with the lights on.